Hello, this is Tarregor. Welcome to my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. The design direction of my vision of Classic Plus is substantially different from that of retail WoW, Circuit Shadowlands, any private servers, Vanilla Plus, and Turtle WoW. This is partially because this aims to fix Vanilla WoW's many problems first, flesh out a polish already there second, and add new content third. This is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. The document is displayed as my vision of Classic Plus, and the document's version number is 1.5.15. All versions of the document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of WoW, that is, the one before the Burning Crusade pre-patch. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of WoW Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introduction video in this playlist, or read the document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document is in my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people or however working with me to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design thus far, and it ain't done yet. Okay, first off, the agenda for the new PvP ranking system. I'm generally trying to meet all of the following objectives. The blue PvP trinket must be easy to get. However, that was already covered, where is it? The insignia of the Alliance Horde will no longer require a lifetime PvP rank of 2 or higher in order to wear, though it will be required to buy from the non-battleground PvP quartermaster, and it may be purchased from any battleground vendor if you're at least honored with that faction. This particular change is made because some people will be unwilling to do rated battlegrounds, but ought to still be able to easily get that essential PvP trinket. By the way, this new PvP ranking system is going to be rated battlegrounds, but getting the objectives actually fucking matters. It'll affect how many points you gain if you win, and how many points you lose if you lose. You get more objectives, you don't lose as much if you lose. You get more objectives, you get more if you win. You get less objectives, you get less if you win. You get less objectives, you lose more if you lose. Lose more what, you may ask? Ranking points. Win what, more? Ranking points. More of what? Anyway, moving on. The first 40 new PvP ranking system, I want the first 5% rank discount to require a substantial amount of skill to get. If I recall correctly, this is at rank 6. I want the blue PvP set and gear from the same ranks to require a lot of skill to get all of. I want all of the epic gear to require a tremendous amount of skill to get all of. I want getting a pseudo legendary item, that is not a level 21 epic, from PvP to require a phenomenal amount of skill to obtain. Did I spell that right? Anyway, by the way, in this Classic Plus, all items are going to be squished to item level 60. All items above item level 65 are going to be squished down to item level 65. Everything in the game. Raids and PvP both. And world bosses. Except the stuff that world bosses drop to item level 63 and be BOE. Because of the reward system. All the raids are going to be tier 1 including the world bosses. Except the world bosses will actually be 20 mans. And Zolgar and Beniki 20 are going to be 40 man. So anyway, I already went over those in the Dungeons and Raids videos and the itemization videos. If barely anyone in your faction is PvPing, then you should still be able to rank up in the new PvP ranking system. If your server has a faction imbalance, it will not make it be easier or harder for your larger or smaller faction to rank up. If people attempt to complete objectives in each battleground, I want people to complete the objectives in each battleground, regardless of whether or not it seems like they're going to win or lose, unless it, without being a gamble, would cost them victory. And I want people to continue to PvP long after they reach rank 15. Now for the execution of the new PvP ranking system. There shall be no more honor points, nor shall the honorless target debuff exist anymore. Dishonorable kills will still lower your ranking points. By the way, it'll be hard to get dishonorable kills. Civilians will be immune to AoE damage, even while aggroed. Battlegrounds are all cross-realm, though I'd love if they didn't have to be. I'd love if Battlegrounds are all server-specific, but I just can't afford to do that because otherwise it's going to be too easy to cheese. So Battlegrounds will all be cross-realm and are, for the level 60 brackets, split between rated and non-rated Battlegrounds. Rated Battlegrounds are group only, and it cannot enter these cases as a group if you have less than 10 people for Warsong Gulch, less than 20 for Arathi Basin, or less than 40 for Track Valley. By the way, there's also a whole bunch of changes made to Battlegrounds and to Cave for Battlegrounds. I already did an entire video on section 5.0.4 Battleground Cave changes, for example. I will not be going over these Cave changes in this video. Now, moving on. Winning a rated battleground is the only way to gain ranking points, and it can only lose ranking points by losing a rated battleground, or by getting a dishonorable kill, or by being punished by a game master for certain offenses, and not other offenses. Only PvP related offenses, that is. There shall be no rank decay. If you get rank 15 and you never do a battleground again, you will stay rank 15 forever, unless of course you get dishonorable kills or some shit. Ranking points shall be given to individual players, rather than to set in stone teams of people. As such, smurfing will only be possible through the intentional loss of PvP ranks, or by making an alt, and premades can change your compositions as much as they like. Premades being the teams that people typically form for rated battlegrounds. I'm gonna fix this water, hold on. Now I'm gonna get a new bottle. Oh, this will be like 20 seconds. I've been working on this design document since late 2017. Anyway, but I didn't really seriously start working on it, if I recall, until early 2018. So anyway, yeah, ranking points will be awarded or taken away only during weekly ranking resets, including penalties from dishonorable kills, but not necessarily punishments from game masters. I forget that part is so or not. The greater your win against your opponent in a rated battleground, remember this is a general premise, the more ranking points you will be awarded, and the greater your loss against your opponent in a rated battleground, the more ranking points you lose. This encompasses not only the battleground's objectives, but the average rank of the opposing team compared to the average rank of your team. You will not qualify for a ranking point increase during the reset unless you have completed at least 5 rated battlegrounds that week, win or loss. Losing rank, however, has no such limitations. The K system will attempt to match you up against a team whose average rank is similar to your team's average rank. Deserters will be penalized for deserting, and they shall not be replaced in the battleground that they were deserted from in rated battlegrounds. There shall be no backfillers. Period. Whatsoever. None. Zilch. 0. Players will only fight in rated battlegrounds against the opposing faction. They shall not fight against their own faction. Not at all. And players may continue to gain ranking points after reaching rank 15, though all they'll do is make the new ranking point indicator and their respectable honor tab go up, which they can then use to flex. Various specifications for the new PvP ranking system. If a person leaves a rated battleground before the battleground is over, then that person will not be allowed to be replaced, and that person will lose points because the person lost of none of the objectives while their enemies won of all the objectives, and the deserter's rating before deserting will still be counted at the end of the battleground for the average rank calculation of the team that the player was in before deserting. People who are caught losing on purpose or otherwise exploiting the system, if at all possible, by a game master whose only job is to monitor battlegrounds, will be banned for at least 2 weeks and lose 1 to 18 PvP ranks, depending upon the severity of the infraction. By the way, negative PvP ranks exist, and they added a rank 15. But more on rank 15 in a previous video, new PvP ranking system, and negative PvP ranks will be in the next video. Battleground weekends will only affect reputation gains. Ranking points will be unaffected by mark turn-ins. Marks will only afford reputation, though it'll also be spent on non-consumable reputation rewards. And rank 10 weapons. By the way, these are rewards for all PvP ranks. And here are the specifications about them, which I already did a video on, but you can pause the video there and read it anyway. Anyways, and rank 10 weapons. There is no limit to how many people may be at each rank. Your ranking points shall be displayed in your honor tab, enabling rank 15 players to have a reason to keep PvPing after they reach rank 15. If you are at rank 15 and have over 79,999 ranking points, then you, instead of ranking up, shall simply have a full red or blue bar over your PvP rank in your honor tab. PvP ranking motions, when applied to the ranking reset, shall be applied before the player's highest lifetime rank is determined, and not after. When Decay attempts to match you up against another team, it will, after the 1 10-minute wait that is covered in the Battleground K changes, first attempt to match you against a team whose average rank is within 0 ranks of your team. After 2 minutes past with no match found, it will expand the search to teams within 1 average rank of your team's average rank. After another 2 minutes pass, it'll expand to search the teams within 2 average ranks of your team's average rank. And so on and so forth, until after 28 minutes in total, it broadens the search the teams that are within 14 ranks of your team's average rank. And after 30 minutes in total, the search broadens to include all teams. The average ranks of teams will be based solely upon the ranking points that each player currently has at the time of obtaining, including the ranking points that have gotten this week and have not been accounted for by a ranking reset yet. You cannot have less than 0 ranking points no matter what. Everything that is to make you have less than 0 ranking points will instead set your ranking points to 0. Players who lose more than 2,500 ranking points compared to what they had at the start of the day will get a red debuff that persists through death, server resets, and other resets, and prevents them from doing any more battlegrounds for the rest of the day. This will last for 2 days. If they lose over 300... This will last for 2 days if they lose over 3,500 ranking points. This is by losing over 2,500 points in a single game. We're 2,499 points below what you had at the start of the day. Or it'll last for 3 days if you lose over 4,500 ranking points instead, or 4 days if you lose over 5,500 ranking points instead, or 5 days if you lose over, or 5 days if they lose over 6,500 ranking points instead, or 6 days if you lose over 7,500 ranking points instead, or a week if they lose over 8,500 ranking points. This will make it take far longer to make it easier to carry people by losing rank on purpose in order to weasel your way around the anti-carrying mechanics, at least. Players who lose a rated battleground while being at rank 0 will get an invisible red debuff of an infinite duration that persists through death, logouts, and server resets. This debuff stacks up to 15 times and loses 9 stacks when you win a rated battleground, or all of them if you reach rank 1 or get 15 stacks. At 15 stacks, the debuff will go away and be replaced by a visible red debuff, as opposed to an invisible one, and this debuff will be called Dishonorable Defeat, which persists through server death, logouts, and server resets, and has different effects depending upon what kind of server you're on. On PvP and RP PvP servers, it'll prevent you from doing rated battlegrounds and last until the next ranking reset, at which point you'll be debugged to rank -1, be dishonored. See section number 5.2, negative PvP ranks for more information. On PvE and RP servers, however, it'll instead prevent you from doing rated battlegrounds and simply last for a month. Yes, an entire fucking month. These debuffs will greatly discourage people from making level 60 ults that are eternally in leveling gear just to do that are eternally in leveling gear just so they can use them to do rated battlegrounds with other people who are doing the same thing so that they can all lose on purpose in order to inflate the ranking point pool so that when their mains try to rank up, they'll have an easier time because their opponents will have a higher rank than they deserve to have because they got free points for finding their ults that lost on purpose. Also, if you use such a thing anyway, there will be game master rounds to ban you for doing it. By inflating the ranking point pool, I in this case mean raising the rankings of other players by giving them a free win. Again, there is no limit to how many people may be at each rank. Inflation in this case only means making other players have a higher rank than they deserve to have by losing against them on purpose, and only by losing against them on purpose. Anyway, moving on. PvP ranks shall have reputation requirements for the sake of thematics as follows. Rank 0+. You must be friendly if your racist faction, and neutral if your racist allied factions such as the Raven Tusk Trolls and the Stormpike Guard, where applicable. Rank 3 and higher. You must be friendly if all of your factions' capital cities and their battleground factions. Rank 6 and higher. You must be honored if all of your factions' capital cities and their battleground factions. And neutral if your racist allied factions. That's also rank 3. Rank 6+. You must be honored if all of your factions' capital cities and their battleground factions, and neutral if your racist allied factions. And rank 11+. You must be revered if all of your factions' capital cities and their battleground factions, and neutral if your racist allied faction. For rank 14 and higher, you must be exalted if all of your factions' capital cities and their background factions, and neutral if your racist allied factions. You must also be neutral if your racist battleground factions to get rank 0 and higher. Anyway, being below your rank's minimum reputation requirement if any of your relevant factions will result in a demotion at the next ranking reset. Weekly ranking reset. These all happen once per week. At the same time per week. Anyway, section number 5.1.4, rank point requirements for each PvP rank. A warning, I've yet to test if any of these ranks are too easy or too hard to obtain. Rank 0, you need 0 to 999 ranking points. Rank 1, you need 1,299. Hold on. I did say this, it's a Twitch stream. Anyway, rank 2, you need 2,000 to 4,999 points. Ranking points. Rank 3, you need 5,999. You need 5,000 to 9,999. Rank 4, 10,000 to 14,999. Rank 5, 15,000 to 19,999. Rank 6, 20,000 to 24,999. Rank 7, 25,000 to 29,999 ranking points. Rank 8, 30,000 to 34,999 points. Rank 9, 35,000 to 39,999, and so on and so forth, by increasing by 5,000 points per rank until you get to rank 13, 55,000 to 59,999 points, and rank 14, 60,000 to 69,999 points, and then rank 15 is 70,000 plus points. 70,000 and higher ranking points will net you rank 15. Section 5.1.5. How ranking points are awarded before battleground objectives. How all this ramps up and down, it's subject to being changed. Ugh. All D below considers the average amount of ranking points held by Team A and the average amount of ranking points held by Team B, both including the ranking points that they have gotten this week have yet to be accounted for by your weekly ranking reset. Wait a second. Will be based solely upon the amount of ranking points that each player currently has, including and not excluding the ranking points that they've gotten this week and not being accounted for by ranking reset. Okay, good. That is not a contradiction. I thought that was a contradiction, but it's not good. So yes, all below considers the average amount of ranking points held by Team A and the average amount of ranking points held by Team B, both including the ranking points that they've gotten this week that have yet to be accounted for by weekly ranking reset. So the average amount of ranking points held by Team A is the amount of ranking points held by player 1 plus player 2, player 3, player 4, player 5, etc., all the way up to 40, divided by the number of players on the team. For all track value, at least. Yeah, that's an example of the average. Anyway, so if you win and the enemy team's average rank is 15 ranks higher than your team's average rank, you will gain 6,500 points. If the enemy team's average rank is 14 ranks higher than your team's average rank, you gain 5,750. You know what the fuck if I'm actually reading all this? I'm just going to scroll down slowly. By reading this, I mean out loud. You're just going to scroll down slowly, and you can pause the video if it's necessary to read it. This better be big enough for mobile viewers to read. Or I hope it is. Well, you know, fuck it. Mobile viewers don't need to be able to read this. And then if you lose... So yeah, if you win against a really high ranked team, you get a whole lot of points. And if you're a really high ranked team that loses against a really low ranked team, you lose a whole fucking lot of points. If you win against a team of your rank or so, or lose against a team of your rank or so, you get a respectable amount of points. If you win against a team that's really bad and your team is really good, you don't get much. Vice versa, etc. How Warsong Gulch objectives modify ranking points earn or loss. A 3-0 win in Warsong Gulch will award 100% of normal ranking points. Hold on. Yeah, 5. Okay, that's a very modifiable number. Yes, a 3-0 win in Warsong Gulch will award all of normal ranking points, 100%. 3-1 win, you get 70% of normal ranking points. A 3-2 win, you get half of normal ranking points. The 2-3 loss of Warsong Gulch will remove half of normal ranking points. The 1-3 loss of Warsong Gulch removes 70% of normal ranking points, and a 0-3 loss of Warsong Gulch removes 100% of normal ranking points. The Rothi Basin objectives. Win with 2,000 resources over the opponent. Ranking points awarded are multiplied by 1.1. That is, you gain 10% more than 110%. You get 110%. Win with 1,900, 1,999 resources of the opponents. You get your ranking points awarded to multiply by 1. 1,800 to 1,899, multiplied by 0.975. 1,700 to 1,799, multiplied by 0.95. 1,600 to 1,699, multiplied by 0.925. 1,500 to 1,599, multiplied by 0.9. 1,400 to 1,499, multiplied by 0.875. Win with 1,300 to 1,399 resources of the opponents, multiplied by 0.85. 1,200 to 1,299, multiplied by 0.825, and so on. Until, when the 1,599 resources of the opponents, rank points awarded multiplied by 0.525, and when the 449 resources over the opponents, rank points awarded multiplied by are halved. A loss of 2,000 resources under the opponents. Ranking point loss is multiplied by 1.1. Lose with 1,900 and 1,999 resources under the opponents. Ranking point loss multiplied by 1. Loses 1,800 and 1,899 resources under the opponents. Ranking point loss is multiplied by 0.975. Loses 1,700 to 1,799 resources under the opponents. Ranking point loss is multiplied by 0.985. And so on and so forth until loses 50 to 99 resources on the opponents. Ranking point losses multiplied by 0.525. And then loses 1 to 49 resources on the opponents. You only lose half the normal ranking points. And now, how Alterac Valley objectives modify ranking points earned or lost. All the below modifiers stack additively or subtractively except for otherwise stated. For example, a 1% modifier and a 2% modifier combined will become a 3% modifier and not a 1.02% modifier instead of 3%. So, win if an enemy lord killed. Gain 10% more ranking points, stacking multiplicatively. Win without an enemy captain killed. Gain 6% less ranking points per captain, whereas elect counts as a captain because it's a 3-way battleground now. Winner controls of the third faction, and they're entirely controlled by NPCs that are opposed to the Alliance and the Horde, and yes, the Alliance and the Horde can both lose in the same battleground. But I already went over that in the Alterac Valley video. You can find that on my playlist. In the video's description. Win without an enemy tower destroyed. Gain 1.4% less ranking points per enemy tower left standing. Win without an enemy lieutenant or commander killed. Gain 0.6% less ranking points per living enemy lieutenant or commander. Win without an enemy airmaster killed. Gain 0.2% less ranking points per living enemy airmaster. Did I say enemy commander? I meant airmaster. Anyway, win without one of your captains. Win without your captain still alive. Gain 6% less ranking points. Win without one of your towers left standing. Gain 1.4% less ranking points per allied tower destroyed. Win without controlling a graveyard. Gain 0.6% less ranking points per uncontrolled graveyard. Win without controlling a mine. Gain 5% less ranking points per uncontrolled mine. That makes them a lot more important than they were in vanilla, by the way. Lose with allied Lord 7, killed or not. Lose 10% more ranking points, stacking multiplicatively. By the way, all multiplicative modifiers are calculated after additive and subtractive modifiers. For Alterac Valley ranking point stuff. Lose with one enemy general killed by your faction. lose half as many ranking points, core captains in general, stacking multiplicatively if additive slash subtractive modifiers are stacked. By the way, the multiplicative modifiers all stack multiplicatively, not additively. Lose with enemy captain killed. Lose 6% less ranking points per captain. Raise with elect counts as a captain. Yet again. The hero of the Winter Axe Trolls. Lose with enemy tower destroyed. Lose 1.4% less ranking points per destroyed enemy tower. Lose with enemy lieutenant or commander killed. Lose 0.6% less ranking points per enemy lieutenant or commander slain. Lose with enemy airmaster killed. Lose 0.2% less ranking points per enemy airmaster slain. Lose if your captain's still alive. Lose 6% ranking. Lose 6% less ranking points. Lose with one of your towers left standing. Lose 1.4% less ranking points per non-destroyed allied tower. Lose with graveyard controlled. Lose 0.6% less ranking points per controlled graveyard. And lose with mine controlled. Lose 5% less ranking points per mine controlled. Excuse me. Now, section number 5.1.9. How ranking points are modified after battleground objectives. If you win, if your rank is equal to, higher than, or 1 rank lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are multiplied by 1. If your rank is 2 ranks lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are multiplied by 0.85. If your rank is 3 ranks lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are multiplied by 0.7. If your rank is 4 ranks lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are multiplied or halved. If your rank is 5 points lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are divided by 4. And if your rank is 6 or more ranks lower than your team's average rank, ranking points awarded to you are multiplied by 100, are divided by 100. This will make it much harder to carry people to high ranks. And that's all I got for the new PvP ranking system, barring the negative PvP ranks, which will be in the next video. Thanks for watching.